What is up, everybody? Colonel Angels, good to see everyone. Let's talk about this week of NWSL ball that has gotten into quite an interesting spot. We have the midweek games done. We're going to recap those in a moment. I'm also going to preview the 7 matches that are taking place over the weekend. Not the Friday match. You've already got that preview in an older video that you can still see on here. And this um, yeah, this is more just a recap of the midweek games as we get ready for everything. Before we do any of that, though, I do need to talk about the events that we have seen unfold. So we've got. Make mine just a little bit larger. Place it. There we go. Okay, so that should work for now. So what we've got is the Boston Legacy FC defeating Orlando Pride. This was our first really big one of the week, and definitely an upset. We have a team who was in the playoff positioning, now straight up out of it. Like, Boston pulled their way into 12th place, at least temporarily, with this victory. And what's even bigger, though, is what has happened to Orlando Pride as their fall has continued as their situation becomes more precarious as we continue on. There we go. All right, so what's been going on with Orlando lately is just really a an exposure of like their lack of depth, a lot of just weakness in general. I'm very concerned about what I'm seeing here from the team. They have a major structural issue, I think, just in terms of being able to perform this year. So I think this is probably their first move towards falling out of the playoff picture completely. I do think with their skill, especially if Banda gets fully healthy and makes impacts again, this will not be cause for uh, despair completely. They will continue to fight for it. But I just look at Denver, I look at Angel City, and these are just two teams I think. And yeah, I don't know where the opportunity comes in to really test them at the moment. Those appear to be, I think, the teams that will probably make the most noise going down the stretch. So unless Orlando has some signings coming, this is probably what they are. And to be fair, they didn't do horribly. Like, they gave up 1 goal to Barbara Olivieri in the first 20 minutes, but otherwise were pretty solid defensively. It was just a matter of they don't have enough offense to generate. I was watching, if those of you who watched the live stream of the Gotham game, I was keeping track of the end of this one, and it was like they could not get decent shots. Like, there were just not any scoring opportunities where I felt like they were really threatening to do anything. And that's about what I expect when their main people are hampered. And there isn't a lot of depth on the team. That was definitely revealed here in the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, I see this kind of being a thing going forward that could really be worthy of discussion in Orlando as to what they're going to do from here. But for now, we have a much bigger game that was going on. A clash between two top 4 squads, Washington Spirit, Gotham FC from Citi Field in Queens, where the New York Mets play. This was a temporary location because obviously the new soccer stadium in Queens is being built next door to Citi Field. New York City FC and Gotham FC will be moving in there in a couple of years, but it's not ready yet. So for now, Gotham is switching back and forth between playing in Red Bull Arena out in Harrison, New Jersey, as well as here at Citi Field for a few. And this one went really well. It was the largest attendance to take place in a baseball stadium for the NWSL, pulling more than 42,000 in, which, as far as I know, they did not fill it, because I did see some empty seats, but it was pretty close. It got pretty close to being as full as you can get. And the thing is, the record was already set. There's no real way to do much else unless you go to a place like Dodger Stadium that has a capacity over 50,000. And in terms of getting anything larger than this attendance, it was the second highest attended match in NWSL history, but the other one took place at Mile High Stadium earlier this year, and that took 63,000 people. Was nearly full in Denver. So unless you're planning to fill up an NFL stadium or go to a college stadium, yeah, this was about as good as you're going to get in the New York area. Unless you plan to run a major match at like MetLife, where the World Cup final is being held, and I have no doubt that will be filled. Anyway, back to this. The match was on ESPN, so it was easy to live. I was glad for the many who showed up. I think we had like close to 150 watching live over the course of the match. Not all at the same time, obviously, but it was kind of cool just being able to see the audience back in action again after that long break. Gotham got their goal in the 37th minute from Lowe's Lavelle off of what had been a really good play from Jalen Howell, setting it up. The shot was one that I hadn't thought was going to be going in as a goal, but what had happened there was Lavelle basically pops it at an angle where it looks like it's going to float down, and it's either going to go long or it's going to float down to the keeper, and it just hung for a little longer than I thought it was going to, and it was enough to just go over a Washington keeper's hands and just find its way into the net. And so yeah, it was just a bloop kick, and it worked really well. This is the kind of goal you need to expect in a game that was this contentious. It was very physical, as you can see from the 4 yellow cards Washington had later on in this game. And Jordan Dudley getting injured, forcing Gotham to burn a substitution during the first half, which is extremely rare. So, yeah, it ended up being very big. This prevents Washington from formally taking first place. They still need to pick that up. So congratulations to San Diego, I guess. You're still holding the top of the table a little longer. See what happens this weekend. Gotham pulled their way up to 27 points, which puts them into a 3-way tie for second with Washington. Right now, it's basically, if Gotham had gotten one more goal, they would have gotten third place. And 2 more goals would have put them ahead of Washington. But for the time being, I think they'll just be happy to be at that point. They have 2 matches. They have a match in hand still. So the opportunity for them still exists to make some noise. The Cup winners are looking a lot stronger than the Shield winners this year anyway. And we'll see who comes out ahead here in this battle for the Shield. All right, let's talk about what we've got coming. I got to move to the other side here. We've talked enough about the past. Let's look to the future. All right, so we've got 7 matches this weekend. San Diego currently will be playing fairly shortly. This thing's going up just before that match happens, so good luck to both teams involved there. But here's what we've got as far as the other 14 teams in the league. Sunday has a single match, which is scheduled to go on at 4 p.m., so 2 hours after the scheduled regulation end time for Spain and Argentina in the World Cup final, an hour after, or a little over an hour after what you would expect if it goes to PKs. So perfect timing, I would say. Games in Foxborough, Massachusetts. We got Boston going against Washington. So both the winners from Wednesday clashing. I would expect that Washington is going to look for redemption and will be very much motivated to come out ahead there. That said, I liked what I saw with Boston. I'm expecting a draw, actually. I'm going to give it 1-1. I think Boston has been playing some reasonably strong ball. I don't think they're good enough to take out Washington, but they showed their defensive mettle, and I think Washington gets by with only a goal, and Boston has proven they can slip one in if they need to. So, yeah, I will give it a 1-1 draw. Now we'll move back a day to Saturday. This is NWSL's big sales pitch for everyone because, man, you got most of the league running. The only other soccer really active is the third place match. So, yeah, a lot of intrigue here, a lot of big team matchups happening. And first up, Gotham FC. I just realized I called Washington the winner of that game with Boston, and yeah, that was a mistake on my part. I literally had just gotten done talking about it too. Wow. I'm not re-recording this. So yeah, just enjoy the fumble. All right, so Gotham, the actual winner of the game on Wednesday, will host Seattle again. New York City, they can't play really out in the Jersey area, so they've got or not in MetLife, so they don't get to play in the big building here just yet, but they get to have some fun here with Seattle, who is looking to make an impact and pull their way back into this. Remember, I talked about Denver and Angel City. Seattle also is in that mix, but they do need a signature win, I think, to prove that they can actually make an impact on the playoff picture. This would be a really good opportunity. I do not see it happening. I think Gotham comes out of this with a 1-0 victory, as is kind of common for them. Score a goal, don't rack up multiples, but play strong defense. And I think that's what they can do here with Seattle in this big rematch. And then we've got, after that one ends, 11 a.m. in Pacific time, noon Mountain time, we've got Denver hosting Portland. Portland is another team in that battle for first, or battle for second, as it were. And they are going against a team in Denver that actually could give them some issues. So, again, this is where I've been saying these top teams, they got to take care of their big matchups when they can. And they've got to take care of the lower teams in the league as a baseline. And I think normally I would say Portland, it's a pretty clean one if it's at home. The ones in Denver are intimidating. Denver has actually proven to have a pretty strong home field advantage. And I think, although they blow leads a lot, I think they are capable of a draw. And that's where I'm going to say they go here. I'm going to give it a 2-2 draw. And again, more points being stolen here. This is a good week for Gotham, as the teams who were ahead of them are all falling around them. And at this point, they just really need the match tonight to go well, because if my predictions are going swimmingly, they could find themselves atop the table here pretty soon. All right, then we get, by the way, both of those matchups are, the first one, Gotham and Seattle, is ESPN, ABC. Denver and Portland is on CBS, the main CBS network, part of a doubleheader, which is followed up with Bay FC hosting North Carolina. Big cross-country matchup. North Carolina has been playing a lot better, but it's a cross-country trip. Bay FC has looked a little bit stronger in the scoring department now that they've got Kennedy Fuller. And once again, North Carolina still does fumble points away, so I am saying North Carolina probably takes a draw here. I've got a lot of draws happening this week. And this one I'm going to say 1-1. Bay FC has looked a lot better in recent goes of it, so I am going to, mark it as another point for them. North Carolina falters a bit as they attempt to maintain their ability to challenge. These upper teams, I think, are heading into weeks where the matchup just doesn't fall right. And so I'm thinking we're going to see some surprises here. One place where we're not seeing a surprise, though, I will suspect, is Chicago hosting Angel City. Chicago is still. They're better than they were. They're not the wooden spoon team anymore. That honor is definitely going to Louisville. But they're still weak. I think they are the second worst team. And while they do play very well in spots and can do stretches of being strong, their midfield is still iffy. And against Angel City, I think this works out in their favor. I'm going to say this is a 2-1 victory for Angel City, who have been looking a lot better with the striking. They do have to deal with the potential loss of one of their stars that happened in the last matchup. But I'll go into more detail on that during Angel City's formal preview, which will go up on Saturday. Moving on, we have the one game that is not being nationally broadcast, and that is Louisville and Houston. By the way, the doubleheader for with Denver and the Bay game, that is on CBS. Chicago is in Angel City is part of the standard doubleheader on Ion. That's the front leg. Utah Orlando is the back leg of it. And then Louisville Houston is running on NWSL Plus, which means you can see it for free. It's just not showing up in many places. And a lot of that's because Houston is currently trying to avoid the bottom quarter of the league, and Louisville is very much looking for an opportunity to get out from the wooden spoon position at the bottom of the table. It has been a rough one for Louisville, as it feels like the entire club is just blowing up around themselves. And I'm kind of the mindset that they have not yet figured out how to right the ship. And assuming I am right, I'm thinking Houston probably does okay here. Again, I'm going a 2-1 victory. I'm hoping Louisville can figure out something and get themselves back together, but this might be one of those blow up the core and try to rebuild from ground zero. Like, this is getting into some rough territory. They have been hard to watch, even in highlights. So hopefully some things go better for them. I know the fandom. They are one of the only teams in Louisville that's across the major sports environment. We obviously don't see a lot of men's programs there. Women's WNBA isn't there. Volleyball isn't there. At least MLV isn't there. PWHL isn't there. So you're really looking at, this is the city's team, and they are laying an egg this year. And then we have the final one I want to talk about, Utah Orlando. I already talked about what I've been thinking of Orlando. It's been pretty shaky, whereas Utah is coming off an upset defeat. They need to right the ship, and I think this is the team to really do it with. I'm going to say Orlando comes away from this week empty-handed. I think Utah gets a good 2-0 win as Banda continues to rehab the injury. She should be back to full-time pretty soon, but yeah, she's still getting things right. So it kind of takes away some of the threat of Orlando, and I think Utah is going to take some pretty solid advantage of it. In any case, that concludes what was a busy go-through. I've taken care of multiple things on this one because we got the recaps and the previews. So this one's fairly long. This is going to double as the podcast entry too. So for now, enjoy your matches, root for your teams, go Spain. Very much pulling for Spain in that final, and go Angels.